Listening? Okay. Basically, there's this guy named William that moved from England to a town called Oregon with his wife and 3 kids. That meets this guy named Henry. And the two of them form a friendship and start a family diner and pizzeria called Fredbear's Family Diner. Now the money is tight, so to save on cash, Henry come up with these animatronic mascots that can be cranked up into workers' suits. Seems pretty smart, right? Right, dummy! See, if the spring locks get loose on these suits, they turn back to animatronics and crush the person in them. Anyway, getting ahead of myself here. Basically, this William guy's bad news. See, one day, Henry's dad at Charlie, he's having a birthday party at the diner. The other kids are mean totes, and they lock her outside. What does William do when he sees this? A freaking drags her into the alley and kills her. That's what he does. Now, Henry built this safety puppet to watch over his dad, but the puppet was stuck inside a box when this was happening. When the puppet gets out, goes out to try and protect her, but it's raining, so the freaking animatronic breaks down too. So what happens is that Charlie's spirit actually inhabits the animatronic puppet. And buddy, that is just the tip of the iceberg. See, William's oldest son is a real two-faced to his human son even. On Evan's birthday in 1983, go to the diner, and Henry actually shoves even into Fredbear's mouth. Freaking crazy, right? So the spring locks fail and Fredbear chomps Evan's head, putting him into a command and killing him a few weeks later. This here is the breaking point for William. The guy starts putting on a spring bunny animatronic sword and using it to lure kids into the back room. Once he gets them back there, freaking kills them. He does this 5 times before getting caught. Thing is, though, nobody can find the body, so William gets let off the hook. As it turns out, hands and buddies inside the animatronics. Not Charlie, since his spirit is inside the puppet. She starts putting the kids' spirits into the animatronics they were stuffed in. So right now, the puppet, Chica the Chicken, Bunny the Bunny, Freddy Fazbear, Folks is Part 8, and undergoing Freddy Fazbear, and original Fredbear all have the ghosts of children in them. After this missing children incident, William gets fired from his own company. That doesn't stop him, though. His new soul company, Upton Robotics, to work for the sister company called Circus Baby's Pizza World. There, William starts making these robots that are designed to kill kids. Crazy, right? Well, as it turns out, William figured out how to be immortal. See, when kids die, they produce this material called remnant. You can basically use this remnant stuff to keep your soul inside of something. William figures this out after killing those first 5 kids, so now he starts trying to use it for his own good. Problem is, even though his youngest son is dead and his oldest son has moved out, William still has his daughter Elizabeth with him. William makes this really cool animatronic called Circus Baby who can dance, sing, make us scream, and do a whole bunch of other cool stuff. But his daughter Elizabeth gets too close to Baby, and I just capturing mechanism activates. So now 2 of William's 3 kids are dead by his own hand. William pretty much loses it here. He kills his wife and puts her into another machine called Bellary. All this doesn't last very long, though. See, Circus Baby's Pizza World closed before it even had the chance to open. Now William is all alone and on the loose. Now it's 1987. There's a new Fazbear, but it's in a new location. They have all the old suits with the dead kids in them in the back room, but now they've got these new animatronics that are not only safer, but also have facial recognition software to detect criminals. This is all in case William comes back, you see. So anyway, since none of the spring lock suits are at this location, William instead is the Golden Freddy suit since it's broken, unnosed, and mostly empty. He killed another 5 kids, which are the Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Toy Folks, which we call the Mangle, and Balloon Boy. Oh, I should mention, Charlie's here again too for some reason. Like the rest of the 1983 animatronics, which are nosed in the back. Charlie's puppet is still used by the prize counter. So anyway, this is the second missing children incident. Now the place gets closed down, but before they knew that, they have one last party on November the 10th, 1987. I freaking lose my frontal lobe to Mangle and die a few weeks later, but that's not important. What's important here is that the restaurant closed down. So now it's sometime after 1987. William somehow gets a message out to his son Mitchell that his sister and mom are trapped in some animatronics that now close down Circus Baby's Pizza World, and that he needs to set them free since the whole building is automated. They think that he's an employee. So Mitchell works at the building for a week while the building is attempting to rip it all. He gets directed by the animatronics and are getting scooped. See, what happens is that during the week, all the robots in the facility tear themselves apart and reform themselves into a dead mass called Inert. And it brings Mitchell to the scope where he gets injected with remnant. Then his organs get scoped out and introduce him as a skin sword to escape the facility. After the robots escape and Mitchell is reanimated as a walking corpse, he goes to find his father and then all the suffering. The first place he tries is the new Freddy Fazbear Pizza that opens in 1993. This reopening is the original location of Fredbear's Family Diner, and brings the original cast of Freddy, Fox, Chica, and Bonnie. They even refit Golden Freddy, but they never use him. Since Mitchell was blacklisted after getting his brother killed, he used a fake name, Mike Skimmett, to get a job at the No Place. However, after a week of working, with all the animatronics trying to kill him, thinking that he's his father, he gets fired and the place shuts down. Mitchell wouldn't find William until 2023 with Fazbear Fright, but before that happens, we need to talk about what happened to William. See, William just come back to the original location. He knows that the kids all live inside the animatronics, and he can't have that, So he goes to the building after it's being shut down to try to dismantle them.
See, all Fazbear locations include a hidden room that is off to math and invisible animatronics for storage. Also for spring lock, failing victims to bleed out and so that the children don't see.
William hides in this room, coming out to dismantle the animatronics until he tears down all 5 of them.
However, once he does this, the ghost manifests, and an act William forcing him to hide in an old spring bunny sword that's been rotting in the room since 1983. And puts it on and lets it down, but the spring locks fail and he gets crushed. Since William has been injecting himself with Remand for years, and come back to life after getting crushed inside his sword, doesn't have any will of his own, being locked in the room until 2023. In 2023, the amusement park opens up a scary attraction called Fazbear Fright, which was a bunch of old Fazbear artifacts from the old locations. It's a horror attraction. They find this old spring bunny sword in a hidden room and transport him to Fazbear Fright, where Michael is working.
This is the moment he's been waiting for.
After a week of working at the location, Michael uses the fall they're wearing in the building as an excuse to set fire to it,
killing William once and for all and freeing the remaining trapped souls, who have also been haunting Michael for the week he was working there. Or so he thought. As it turns out, William survives the fire, rebuilds the parts of him that were destroyed with the leftover parts in the building, and escapes to kill some more.
Now we have the puppet, and William all up on Arrow in the whip. Enid gets tired of Elizabeth controlling him, so they kick Elizabeth out. And she rebuilds herself as a new version of Baby, now called Scrap Baby. And then dons a new mask and calls themselves Molten Freddy, who also happens to have the spirits of the 5 children from the toy animatronics in it now. This is where Henry steps in. Once Henry learns of the suffering that has been happening, his death is a plan to bring all the animatronics back to one place so he can destroy and free them all, and create an animatronic called Lefty, which used to capture his data. When Michael finds out about all this, he goes to the new fake misery and brings all of the animatronics back together. Once they're all there, Henry locks the building and burns it all down with himself, and Michael's still in it. Freeing the remaining souls of Elizabeth, Charlie, William's wife, and the remaining children inside of Molten Freddy. After this, William's soul is sent to hell, where the souls of the children he targeted get to target him for all eternity. Or so they think. See, some time before being killed, William used his genius to scratch his own memories and consciousness in the binary code of some other components of the animatronics.
The problem with Henry's plan was that Fazbear Entertainment wasted all in his own hands, and was actually still running as its own company at this point.
See, sometime during the events of the games, an Innumerous game developer was hired by Fazbear Entertainment to make FNAF video games as a way of making a real story seem like fiction. After that, they then hired a different company called Silver Parasolites to create the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience to make it seem as if the previous games were wrong and to double discredit the real stories of the children getting killed.
The problem, though, is that Fazbear Entertainment promised Silver Parasol with some computer chips to scan in order to make the animatronics more realistic.
When they do this, William's consciousness code is brought in the game, basically bringing him back to life in the video game.
During Devil event, this robot William, called Glitchtrap, programmed himself to be able to take over Tester's body, essentially bringing William Afton back to life. William is first able to control a developer named Jeremy, but he decides that Jeremy isn't a good candidate, so he controls Jeremy and makes him kill himself using a gauntlet paper slicer. Glitchtrap tries to control the named player of the game, but the player manages to defeat him and lock him away. However, before this happens, Glitchtrap finds a host named Vanessa and decides to use her.
After the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience,
as well as an added Halloween dope,
Fazbear Entertainment and commissioned the creation of a Jinmo called the Fazbear Megapixelplex.
During the time after Megapixelplex was running, multiple animatronics were switched around and the tragedy started again. But before we go into the events that transpired there, we have to talk more about Vanessa and another individual known as Painting 46.
Painting 46 to be a tech-savvy genius, but is also at the same time a chill. And how they are treated and referred to by the various of it that we hear their sessions from? Well, it's clear that Painting 46 and Vanessa to different people. It is unknown for certain who Painting 46 is. What is known is that Painting 46 spends a lot of time at the Physiplex before the events of Security Breach and helps for program to save them, and believing that they are working with Vanny. Vance is also the while under the control of William.
What else is known is that Painting 46 lied about whatever happened to their family. The 6-in tape reveals that they actually had a great children. Vance is known also to have had a terrible father named Bill according to tape 3.
Apparently Vance is that forced her to lie during a custody hearing between him and her mother, leading to her mother doing something afterwards, likely committing suicide.
Anyway, the events preceding Security Breach include at least 9 more missing people, likely all children, as well as multiple missing artists who were likely killed by Vanny. At some point, Bonnie the Bunny is replaced by a new animatronic named Montgomery Gator. This happens following a night where Bonnie went down to Monty's golf course and then was on scene afterwards. Many speculate that Monty may have killed Bonnie or dismantled him in order to make his way into the main cast, but we do not know for sure. What we do know, however, is that Monty took over Bonnie's role in the main cast.
Brooke and Walter, another new animatronic, also took over Folk's role, but there's no given explanation for this. One night, after most of the animatronics have been reprogrammed, Glamrock Freddy, the newest version of Freddy Fazbear, malfunctioned and shuts down on stage. When he wakes up, he learns that he was put in low power mode, likely freeing him from the reprogramming that Page 46 did to everyone else.
Also, when he wakes up, a boy named Gregory reveals to have been hidden inside of his chest cavity. Gregory is a homeless orphan of unknown relation to anyone else during the infant's security breach.
Some have speculated that Patient 46 is Gregory, but there seemed to be little difference between the two characters at conflict.
Others believe that Gregory is an animatronic himself. His hair and eyes are noticeably different events.
And the book Tales from the Pizzaplex includes an animatronic that looks like a home and children, is about the same size as Gregory.
What more, Gregory's vision seems to distort at times. His eyes are cameras that are receiving interference. However, none of this is known for sure. Gregory and Glimrock Freddy find that the Mega Pizzaplex is built on top of the fake restaurant that was used to lure William Afton in years prior.
Then, using Vance's body, locate William Afton's corpse and reanimate him inside of a wretched station stolen from the Pizzaplex.
William Afton plans to control all of the animatronics in the Pizzaplex remotely and begin to kill children again. But Gregory and Freddy stop it. The last we see of William Afton is him being grabbed by the spirits of the recently killed 9 people inside of a large machine known as the Blob. The game canonically ends with Gregory and Freddy escaping the Pizzaplex and relaxing on a hell. It is likely that with the destruction of the Pizzaplex, Vance is freed from Vanny, but we do not know for sure.
And this is where our story ends for now.
Eventually there will be more Dolken updates for Security Breach, but until that happens, this has been the Enter 5 Nights at Freddy's Game Lore.